Hey guys, so before we proceed into the video, here's a little update for everyone. So this is a disclaimer for any interruption in the internet or the quality of the video of our speakers and on the host side. So if at all the audio is good, go ahead and leave your phone at the side and feel free to listen to the recorded audio chat. So always remember, it's not all about the quality of the video, but more towards the content of the video. So we really hope that you guys have fun and leave a comment below on what you actually learned, or if you would like to share your experience on this particular topic in the comment section below. So have fun, guys.
It's nice that you have a schedule and all, but when you have a baby, the baby is the only schedule that you have. Children want to be included. Children want to be listened to, especially teenagers. Respect is extremely important. We all take children for granted. They have to feel they are being listened to. Their opinions matter to us. Their presence is felt. They are completely loved.
This series is brought to you by the Reset app, an amazing app that equips you to be happy by flexing the positive mindset muscle. So go ahead and download today. Link is in the description below. It's free.
Good evening, everyone. This is a recording as part of our initiative to do a program leading up to World Mental Health Day, which is on the 10th of October. And the way we're celebrating this day is with a series of programs titled around the theme of being human. So today I've got a very dear friend who is also an award-winning translator of over 85 books from leading authors around the world, from English into Tamil, in the area of personal development and self-help. She's also a seminar leader, and she has area of expertise in success principles. She's done lots of work with her own series of seminars called the Celebration Series. She's also a very experienced person in the area of relationships and communications. My dear friend Nagalakshmi, welcome from Mumbai.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. It's wonderful to join you.
Yes, it's been some time, and I think our conversations leading up to today's Zoom recording should have actually been recorded, but it's given us a bit of a framework to have this conversation. And before I invite you to tell us a bit about yourself and your experience and how you came to this area of doing the work that you're currently doing with great joy, I might add, is in this area of talking about being more human. We realize that two key components contribute to being more human. One is relationships and the quality of our relationships, and how this interacts with communication, right? The way we communicate, the impacts that we have in terms of new technology and social media, and other things which add to the complexities of building relationships and communication. So today's conversation, I think, is going to be in terms of how we can use what we have today based on our experiences with the technologies that we have today, and address some of the challenges and some of the concerns that we have in relation to relationships as well as communications, in this whole concept of helping us to be more human, which essentially means being a bit more conscious, being a bit more aware, and being a bit more able to respond the way we should, traditionally. So maybe you can, share with us a bit about yourself and how you came into work in this space. Yeah.
That's very interesting because I started off my career as a software professional. I worked in the industry for close to a decade. around 4 or 5 years into the job, I took a break of another 5 years because I had my second baby, and we moved over to Africa. My husband was working there, so I was a full-time homemaker, enjoying my motherhood there. Then we had to return to India, and when we came back, there was a reason for me to go back to work again. And so I joined the software industry again by upgrading some of my skills. And so I was based in Chennai. Then we moved over to Mumbai, where I'm currently residing. But again, 2 years into the job, somehow I felt an emptiness in me. I thought I had not much time with my family. Therefore, my husband and I decided, and I quit my job. So I really wanted to be just a homemaker. I was never an ambitious person, career-oriented woman, no. But it so happened that I read a book called The Passion Test. It was written by Janet Atwood and Chris Atwood. The book initially wasn't very appealing to me because of the title, but then when I read the book, I was hooked on. Because it gave a very different perspective of what you really want to do with your life. I had not thought about my life in that perspective before that. And so I read it. I was thoroughly impressed. And I discovered that I really wanted to be a speaker. I am so passionate about being a speaker, motivating people and, uplifting them. That gave me a kind of joy. Then I realized that long ago, my dream had been to become a professor in physics. And somehow that did not materialize due to a lot of personal issues, but that's beyond the point. But here I am. I wanted to be a speaker, and that came out of nowhere. And that was the result of that book. Then I trained under her when she came to India, and I became a certified passion test facilitator, helping other people discover what their true passions really were. And just a few months down the line, my husband and I got to see a movie called The Secret, which all of you must be aware, by Rhonda Byrne. So that was an international sensation. And there, one particular author, one particular speaker impressed me very much, and that was Mr. Jack Canfield. And I then Googled him. I researched a lot about him, and then I decided I want to study under him. I want to know how do you help people? How do you help people get successful? How do you help people become more personally developed, more confident of themselves? So basically, how do you, uplift people? That's what he was doing. And so I applied. I was selected. I think that was the first batch of Train the Trainers. He introduced a new series called Train the Trainers, and he selected over 100 people from all over the world, and I happened to be one in that batch. And so I trained under him for 1 year. There were 3 personal sessions, and then the rest of it were online. But that was an eye-opener for me, because just after 1 year after I quit the job, I had become a certified passion test facilitator. I had become a certified success principles facilitator. And then down the line, something happened and I became a translator. No, that's a very long story, which I don't want to take much of your time now. But it was just accidental, because I never thought I would become a translator, because I hardly ever read books. So forget about translation. But it happened. And then 10 years now, I've been very successful, and I've been very fortunate to have translated wonderful authors like Stephen Covey, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Robert Kiyosaki, and many more people. And recently, you all know Harari, who's famous for his Sapiens, Homo Deus, and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. So then again, down the line, I became an author. That again was accidental. I don't know. I think my life has been full of miracles, which I cannot explain. It just unfolded. All of these things unfolded. And here I am speaking to you. And even our meeting was, a divine meeting, if I could say that.
Yeah, that's great. And I think one of the things that many of our listeners will be wanting to understand is just having that confidence to disassociate sometimes from our logical brain and follow the song in our heart and allow our life to unfold, right? Like what you said. I mean, I think the first ever conversation that we had was with regards to law of attraction, and the majority of that conversation was with regards to the passion test, because at that stage, Ivan and myself had just read and studied the book, and we were always about connecting with people, finding common ground, engaging with a point, and then unfolding from there. So it's really amazing, and I think it builds a lot of people's confidence and belief that if you allow your life to unfold, then it's like what you say, right? You discovered your passion, you learn some success principles, and Ken Field is amazing with his principles of success. And having the opportunity to really study the works of some of these major authors, right? Masterpieces, Covey, Hill, one of my, go-to people in terms of subconscious mind, Joseph Murphy. And
Yeah.
okay, so maybe we can take the conversation in terms of the relationship part. You know, relationships are fairly complex, and generally we can see a relationship as being a bit more transactional in nature, or is it more trust and nurturing, trust building and nurturing in its nature? So what is your perspective in terms of uh, these relationships, and how they factor in terms of us being more human?
See, I feel that we all start with the trustworthy relationship. Our relationship is based on trust, love, and care. That's how everybody starts off. But somewhere down the line, I think we lose focus, or we are pressurized by the external forces, and the relationship slowly, very slowly, transforms into a transactional one, or you can say a contractual one. Usually, I mean, we start off thinking with our heart, and then we start thinking with our brain. And brain, as you know, is always logical, and it is the one that will always stop you from the one thing that you really want to do, because that is going to throw at you all the things that could be obstacles or hardships that you might encounter if you choose the path that your heart tells you to choose. Now it's a tug of war. Are you going to listen to your heart, or are you going to listen to your brain? And it so happens that most of us fall prey to listening to our brain. I'm not saying that's wrong, because of course you have to look at the broader perspective also. Everybody is looking at their financial security, and all kinds of security, their better future for their children, for their spouse, for their family. But when you really look at relationship, basically we want to do something for the person we love or the people we love. That's why we are doing the things that we set out to do. But in the process, what happens is we focus more on the things, and then we lose focus on the people who really matter to us. But the time comes then for you to answer the question to yourself, am I doing the right thing? And most people don't stop to ask that question because they know the answer to the question, right? So if I start off my career and I just keep going at it, I'm going to be successful. The more how I work hard, the better I'm at my success. And I'm going to be making a lot of money. I'm going to be accumulating wealth. I'm going to be having vacations, everything. But slowly what happens is we ignore the people at home, be it our spouse or our children. It's not that we don't love them. We definitely love them. That's why we are toiling. But we think that the financial security is the one that is going to ensure a happy life for us. So then it becomes transactional, because there is no time for communication, because you only have 24 hours a day. How do you allocate time for your personal relationship, for your business relationship, and for your career? Right. Now, when we lose the balance there, balance is very delicate here, and it's also difficult. Everybody would appreciate that. It is difficult, but that is reality. Now, everybody works, everybody makes money, everybody gets ahead in life. But I also see around me a lot of people who are extremely successful in their profession, and they are status in the society, but at the personal front, be it the relationship with their spouse or with their children, they feel regret. Okay, they think that they could have done better or they could do better, but they fail to. Now they don't know how to fill the void, how to bridge that gap that has widened over a period of time. Now, initially in a marriage, if you look at the couple, both the people are very ecstatic, very excited, and then it's only for the love that they got married. But then just 2-3 years down the line, when children come, that's one challenge. But then career takes over because both the parties, at least now, I think many people, both the couples are working. Earlier, it used to be one person working. Now, the number has increased significantly, although there are many homemakers. But the point is, we tend to focus more on our responsibility. We feel we are responsible for our spouse, for our children, for our family, and for the elders in our family. Therefore, money is important. No denying that. Money is important, but the thing is, we focus more on the money and we focus less on the relationship, and therefore, definitely, it has a negative impact on the relationship. Somebody feels they are left out, they are ignored, or they feel they are not that important in that person's life. That is why the communication is not happening. Now, this is the thinking that goes on in the mind of the person that is being ignored or felt being ignored, right? So the nurturing relationship, that's how it started, but then it transformed into a transactional relationship. And now, even if you want to go back to that loving, nurturing relationship, it's kind of difficult because both parties have grown apart, not only in their thinking, but also in their way of functioning. So now, especially now in this corona pandemic, when we are forced under lockdown to sit under the same roof for 24 hours a day, it's Herculean task. It's unbearable, because it's okay, somebody comes back home from office in the evening and then have dinner and then see some television and then go to bed. Next day again goes back to office. But now you see the person 24/7. You don't know what to talk to them. You don't know how to talk to them. What is going to set them off, or what is going to put them off? So many challenges. Now it's very difficult to comprehend what's going on. You wish, oh God, let the corona end, let everybody get back to normalcy, so that I don't have to deal with this. So yes, so I think our relationships have taken a big, you could call it a setback for the relationship.
Yeah, great. Interesting that you talk about our current experience with the corona, virus, and the lockdowns in our countries and around the world. Some of the work that I've been invited to participate in has been around the area initially for stress, anxiety, depression, and things in that area. But when we actually met up with some people and did some preliminary interviews, which I like to do before we design a program, I realized that certain people, yes, they are faced with stress, anxiety, depression because of the loneliness or the isolation. However, there's another bunch of people on the other side of the coin where they are actually in crowds, right? And like you say, they're stuck together now. They have to put up with each other. And it is now bordering on the other side of the stress, anxiety, depression. It is now frustration, anger, and violence, which is, totally opposite. And um, when we prodded with a few more probing questions, we realized that a lot of people didn't know how to function because nobody taught them about how to build, how to nurture a relationship. And we are all creatures of habit, so to speak. And relationships, like every other thing, is a learned behavior pattern. Do you feel, based on your experience, is that we have a lack of role modeling, I suppose, people in our generation? Because our grandparents, there was someone at home more of the time. So the children grew up
having one parent or some extended family in terms of grandparents or something in this family type environment where they had role models to refer or reference points. But now a lot of people who are growing up, they've been in a situation where they were put into daycare or nurseries or play school, and the sense of values, the sense of relationships might be different. I mean, the old saying, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, right? So the question is,
Yes.
who's actually rocking our cradle?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because the one of the reasons I quit my job is that. And I told you I was in Africa. I was asked to come to work with my husband. My husband's boss said, we always have husband and wife team in our office, so it would be nice if you could also join. And I had a child that was 4 years old and a baby that was 3 months old, and I refused to work. I enjoyed being a homemaker. So then he said, see, every parent here, they all have employed nannies. They're going to take excellent care. So what is so different about your child? You can just trust your child with them. They'll take good care of your child. But I refused flatly. I said, and I told my husband, I in fact threatened him, if you're going to compel me to work, I'm going to go back to India. You finish your contract and come back. Because I felt that if I give birth to my child, either I take care of my child or someone in my family does. But as you rightly pointed out, the joint family system is no more there. If at all, very rare. So all of us are nuclear families, and especially in families where both the father and the mother have to work, children are at the mercy of daycare. You have no choice. And yes, logically, we would say if both of us don't work, we will never be able to meet our ends, and also we will not be able to afford the kind of life that we aspire to give our children or for ourselves too. So we end up leaving the child at daycare. Again, when you say role model, now, not necessary that the role models we have or we had are good ones. There are bad ones too. So looking at it, you would think, okay, my child is better off without that role model. But all said and done, you still need people. Yeah, so as I was saying, role models need not be good role models too. So sometimes you feel that our children are better off without being around them. But all said and done, I think today when you look at the world, you see a lot of problems, all man-made problems in terms of environment, in terms of society, in terms of personal relationship. Everything involves people. And who are these people? Now, everybody was once a child. So every child is born innocent, right? It just smiles at you and you say, oh, what an innocent smile. So why a baby that is born innocent grows into a youngster and later into an adult that is not desirable by the society? What happens in between? So you have to take responsibility that raising that child is my duty, my commitment to the child. And it's very easy to blame the child. Oh, that's his or her nature. That's how he or she behaves. But only a little bit is nature. More of it is nurture. We have to take responsibility for the life that we bring into this world. Now, that life did not ask to be born. We bring it into this world. So then we have that commitment. But when a baby is born, for a few years, it's all fun till it starts talking. You wait for the day for it to say mom, dad, and all. The moment it starts talking, then you say, shut up and sit down. Enough of it. We are not satisfied at all with what we have in hand. We always look into the future. Thereby, we lose the present moment. No, this moment is gone forever. You just cannot get it back. Again, you're into the future. Every single moment you're looking into the future one step ahead. So you lose track. Now, some people think that the child, when you provide for the child in terms of food, clothing, shelter, toys and vacations and other material things, and now all the technology, then you're doing a good job. But I think that we are doing a bad job by doing that. You can give the child very simple food, very simple clothing, very simple way of life. But what the child actually needs is your love and affection. No nanny will be able to provide that. No daycare center will be able to provide that. See, all of us may be having the practical issues, the practical problems of raising the children. I don't have the support of anybody but to depend on the daycare. What do I do? Now, these are individual problems which have to be addressed individually in person. There is no universal solution to this because each one's background is different, situation is different, your compulsions are different. So, that have to be addressed separately. But overall, looking at the big picture, there is no denying that the child needs the care of the mother and the father. Each one plays their own role. You can't say a child only needs the mother or only the father. It needs both, because the bond. And tomorrow, when the child is going to grow up and have its own family, who's his role model? Now that we don't have a joint family, who's the role model? It's we, the parents. So what kind of a role model are we being to our children? Will we be happy if our child gets a spouse like us, or be a person like us when they get married? Now, if you ask that question to yourself very seriously, I think you have the answer for yourself. So then you know how important it is to focus on the child instead of anything else at that point of time. When I was translating one of Stephen Covey's books, I don't know which one, but he says that one of his daughters, when she had a baby, she was a working woman. And so she was so frustrated that she could not follow her schedule. So she says, I make the schedule, but then I don't get to even complete anything that I schedule. So Stephen Covey says, it's nice that you have a schedule and all, but when you have a baby, the baby is the only schedule that you have. Nothing is going to work. Whatever your baby calls for, whatever its demands are, those are the things that have to be met at that point of time, because they are the things that matter the most at that point of time. So all your other commitments, your work commitments, everything will have to take a back seat. You can attend to them only after a certain point of time. Right now, your baby is most important. So I think that sums it up. So you bring a life into this. It is your responsibility to make that child be a responsible citizen. You present it to the society. That's your greatest gift to the society. Imagine if each one of us takes that responsibility, assumes that responsibility, and fulfills it, even not necessarily 100%, 80%. I think we would have done a fabulous job. The society will be less unsafe. It will be more loving, more giving, more compassionate. Because if you look all around, the Dalai Lama goes everywhere and speaks about compassion because he knows that that's what is lacking now. There is compassion displayed at different parts of the world. But if you collectively look at it as a universal society, I think there is less compassion, more of selfishness, more of violence, more of, me. It's the me that is more important than the we. So I, I think if these bigger problems have to be solved, we have to start at the grassroots level. And that's when we have the baby. Because this baby is the one that's going to make up the society in the future. So you want to change the society, you change the way you bring up your child. I think we would have done a great job. It would have been a fantastic contribution to the world, more than anything that we would do.
Great. And that's, I think, what most people are challenged with in this day and age, right? Having this conversation about the trade-off, how much of time, how much of commitment, how do I juggle the two to find some form of balance or harmony. Now, unfortunately for many of us, who are listening to this conversation, that opportunity has run away or slipped away for us. So based on your experience and the work that you do, what are some of the steps, or what are some of the initiatives that we can do to try and peg back or reclaim or rebuild these relationships? How do we enhance our communication Of course, we can't regress back to when our children were babies. But what can we do from now with this fresh realization on how can we do to mitigate or we can repair this situation?
See, Derek, the most important thing is communication. Even if we had failed earlier on, be it in our marriage or be it in our parenthood, that's okay. It's not irreversible. We can still patch it up. But, I'm a mother of two boys who are 23 and 19 respectively. So I have been a homemaker for them in their initial years. So what I see in the current generation is they all want to be included in everything that's happening in the family. Usually parents make a mistake of keeping the children away when they discuss important stuff, not intentionally, but they think that our children should not know the hardships we are going through or the problems that we are facing. The children only should get to enjoy the good stuff in life. But life is not always good stuff. Good and bad come together. That is life. So if we are not including them, we are actually doing injustice to them by not making them realize that they will also face problems, and we are not helping by not including them because they fail to understand how you solve the problem. When I face it tomorrow, how should I handle it? So you leave them out, so they are clueless. Now you would admit that you and I, when we have problems, we figure it out by ourselves because we were not included in those conversations when we were young. Would you admit it?
Yes.
So yeah, so that's what happens. And we make the same mistake, not knowingly, but we think that's how you should raise your children. So, but my understanding and my experience states that children want to be included. Children want to be listened to, especially teenagers. Before they grow into an adult, we always think of teenagers as rebels and, rebels without cause. They're there only to make your life miserable, but it's not. One thing we have to understand, we have been there, but they have not been here yet. So we've crossed the 13s, 14s, 15s, and 20s, but they haven't yet reached 40. So who is the person who should be more understanding? Is our expectation from the children realistic? Is it really correct? Now, we all expect a lot of things from them, but think of what you did when you were their age. Were you perfect? Did you not make mistakes? Did you not throw tantrums? I mean, the kind of tantrums that will be different, but we did our part. You ask our parents, they would tell you a whole lot of stories about you. So you have to include your children in anything that you discuss. For example, I'll give you, now currently this pandemic, I can't go out and speak, I can't go out and do a lot of things. So now there's a lot of things that my husband and my son are fiddling with technology. I am zero in technology, and my husband knows a lot, but intricate technicalities, he needs my son's help, and he's been an immense help for us. His knowledge about technology, he's a treasure core of technology, and he's the one helping us out with everything, even setting up the Zoom call. So and he's hardly 19 now, but we talk to him as if he's 30-year-old, because that's the knowledge that he has, and he deserves the respect. There is one aspect that I think there are two important aspects in any relationship, be it marriage or be it parenthood. One is communication, another one is respect. Respect is extremely important. We all take children for granted. We think that it's nice to bring them up to 5 years because they are like toys. You can just key and then say, sit down here, get up, and then lie down, eat, and they all listen to you. But after that, it's like an ordinary car. When you push it, toy car, you push it, it goes, and then it stops. You go there and push it again, it goes and stops. Now imagine an automatic car, battery remote control car. Then also you have some control over it. Imagine for a second you have a toy car that can think for itself and decide where it wants to go. All right, you may have a remote, but that is not working anymore because the car is thinking for itself like artificial intelligence. Now it's going in its all directions. That's your toddler. That's your teenager. You can't control the teenager anymore. But a teenager always listens to us voluntarily. You compel them, they are not going to listen to us. But voluntarily, what will make them listen to us? They have to feel they are being listened to. Their opinions matter to us. Their presence is felt. They are completely loved. Now, these are intangible things. You can't see them, but you can feel them. Somebody reciprocates your love or your affection or your responsibility only when they feel that you are doing everything in your capacity for them. Criticism, advice, counsel, none of these work, but love and patience work. And it's difficult, it's hard, because already we are challenged enough, at our work front, in terms of finance, in terms of other commitments, we are challenged. But when your babies are small, they are shitting, they are peeing, they are vomiting, you just patiently deal with everything. When they become teenagers also, they are doing the same thing in different forms. So are we going to throw the babies out because they are shitting? No, we deal with it. So are we going to throw the teenagers out because they are doing it in a different form? No, we can't, because you can't take responsibility for the good things about your children and not about the bad things about your children. They come as a package. So now we have to learn to deal with them. So I would say, even if you have not had the opportunity or somehow missed out on dealing with the children this way, or with your spouse this way, be it a husband or wife, I would say start now. It's never late to begin a conversation. It may sound odd, it may be strange, it's kind of a strange feeling to you, like you're already strangers. How do you initiate a conversation, an intimate conversation, a meaningful conversation? I would say start off with something that's as mundane as politics. That's the easiest thing to talk about. You can criticize as much as you want. You can just vent out your frustration, your anger, and everything in it. But eventually, I'm telling you, there is no other relationship other than the spouse, our husband or wife, whom you can share everything with. Because at different points in life, I being a woman, I can be a sister to my husband. I can be a friend to my husband. I can be his mother at times. Say, when he's sick, I take care of him. I become his mother. When he has issues, he wants to talk openly, I become his friend. And then I become his sister in terms of celebrating something. So I can play many different roles, and I can be his wife. Similarly, he can be a brother to me, a father to me, a friend to me, and then my husband also. So we are the only two people who can play many different roles. We can don different caps at different times. No other relationship can do that, no matter whoever it is. So start now. Start one thing if you want to change in your life, in your relationship now. Set aside at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever is possible for you, every single day. Let it be a specific time. Let it not waver. One day in the morning, one day in the night. If you say 7:30 in the night, make it 7:30. Sit and talk. Talk even about why did we stop talking? Why did we stop communicating? What went wrong? Where did we miss our relationship? It could be you, it could be me, but what happened? Come out as, I want to change it. I want to mend it. I want to make it better. When you approach someone asking for help, they will be more willing to help you than starting off with a criticism. You're the one who stopped talking. Okay, now I don't want to have this conversation anymore because you're again accusing me. This is the reason why we stopped talking, right? So this communication is important. Now with children, now you can't tell the child, okay, it's 7:30, come sit down, we want to talk. Now that approach has to be different. Till now, whatever you might have done or not done, now start listening to them. Whatever they talk, because sometimes they talk nonsense too, bear with them, but listen to them. I still remember my children when they were playing computer games. My younger son used to talk so much about the games, the characters, what it does, its dress, and where it goes and stuff. I don't know anything about it, but I would listen to him as if that's the most important thing at that point of time. And in fact, it is. So he thought that he was more important to me than anything that I was doing which is the truth. He was important, he is important, that is why I'm paying attention to them. So when you're talking, again, when you say communication, communication is not merely saying something and then listening something. It's about eye contact, being present in the moment, no distraction, no TV, no mobile. A call comes, ignore the call, put it on mute. Or for your sake, at least don't have the mobile at all where you're talking, because that half hour is the most important time on that day, because that is building your relationship, it's nurturing your relationship. So if it were your professional relationship, if you say that was a meeting that is going to be a turnaround in your professional life, would you give in to distractions? So it is more about what is important to me. If I feel something is important, I would not miss it at any cost. But if I don't feel it's important, then I will find enough excuses for not having done it. So make sure that your spouse, your child is more important than anything in the world, and all that you do is for them, for you as a family, as a unit. So start talking, start communicating, start listening, listen more than say more. So then the relationship changes. It will eventually change and reach the place where you want it to reach. I'm sure no relationship is irreparable. Okay, even terrorists, they have a negotiation, they come to the table to negotiate. I don't think our spouse is a terrorist. We can have negotiation, we can have a talk, we can talk openly, pour your heart out, be open, because when you withhold something, again, that is not going to work. So have an open heart conversation with your spouse, with your children, and I'm sure you'll see the change in your life.
Thank you. Those are, just very simple, powerful, steps to take. Nagalakshmi, how has communication changed? With the advent of technology and all these new apps and stuff like that. We talk about communicating with people. It's supposed to bring us together. Okay, fantastic. You're in Mumbai, I'm in KL, and or today in Sramban, and we're talking to each other. What difference has this type of the quality of the communication and how has it impacted our relationships? We understand to some extent verbal communication and the non-verbal part of communication. How essential is this, and what parts are lost because of technology, and how can we overcome this to bridge that gap, like what you said, start talking, you more being more personable, being in contact. Just recently, four of our friends went for dinner, and funnily enough, because we have to sit, a fair distance apart, we find ourselves using our phone to WhatsApp each other, although we are sitting on a larger table, right? So technology is supposed to bring us together, but yet, there's this social emotional distancing, which is this challenge. How has that impacted the quality of our relationships and communication?
See, you in the very beginning of this interview, you said we are, a species of habits, right? So slowly we've developed this habit of, getting addicted to technology. And honestly, every technology that's coming up now is designed to addict you. It not only the children, even the adults. That's why the scenario that you just presented, all of you were sitting together and yet all of you were WhatsApping somebody. So we are physically there, but mentally we are not there, right? Earlier, when we didn't have these kind of phones and whatever, we go for dinner. You can't hear what the other person is saying because we are talking so loud, excitedly, right? That's the whole reason why we go out together, to have fun. It's not to eat. We can just order a takeaway, sit at home and eat. Why do we have to go to a restaurant, spend our time, energy, in the traffic and everything? So technically, we are doing what we are supposed to do, but actually we are not doing it. So in my case, I'll give you a few examples. In my case, I rarely use my phone. Okay. Even if there is a call, I take it at my own convenience. I don't, some people wake up to a WhatsApp, notification or some message notification in the morning. The phone is always under their head or at an arm's reach. You can stop that. uh, Technology is important because you can't ignore it. Now our lives have been redesigned, to involve technology. Without it, we cannot survive. Even if one of us chooses to not use technology, it's a loss for us, not for anybody else. And our lives are intertwined. So you can't ignore technology or avoid technology completely, but you can have boundaries. Okay, even when you're eating, now that is a moment for you to eat. Now that 5 minutes or 10 minutes that you're spending on it, earlier it used to be a long time. Now it has come to 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now at least those 10 minutes, we can refrain from using our phone. Just put it inside a drawer, mute it. Just don't even see it. It could be even your laptop. Some people have the laptop running always. It's on sleep mode, and then immediately when you want, just switch it on and do things. You can give a 1-day break for technology. What if there is no internet? Suddenly the power is gone. Now we are forced to sit quietly. Now, why can't we enforce it upon ourselves? Now, I think it's more to do with our self commitment and self discipline. Those self things are always very hard. We can't discipline ourselves, we can't commit ourselves. But you have to, I mean, when you say the question you asked, how has it affected our relationship? Yes, technology claims to bring people together, but actually it's taking people apart from each other. Now, in a dining table, when four of you are sitting and you're WhatsApping or you're just watching a video or attending to a call, you are talking to somebody so far away and yet ignoring the person that is just next to you. That is the most important person for you now. Now that's why you've come together. What message are you sending to that person? Why do you think relationships are deteriorating? It's because you're ignoring. Unknowingly, you're ignoring. So the person who's next to you is waiting for you to talk. All right, not everybody is, again, technology addict. Some people know their boundaries. So suppose in a group of 5, 2 people are not using any phone, 3 people are onto their phones. These 2 feel left out. Now they connect between each other, but the rest of the 3, they are not there. So now this friendship is not going to last longer, at least at the emotional level or the level at which it is supposed to be. Contractually, that's when you said transactional relationship. This is transactional relationship because you're ignoring the emotional aspect of it. Relationship involves emotion. Emotion involves attention. You have to pay attention to the person who you're communicating with. That is why you said verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Verbal communication anybody can do. I can just talk to you like this and then look at something here. But my gesture, my eye contact, my body language, all of these, in a hidden way, they convey to you whether I am attentive to you or whether I'm just talking for the sake of talking. So that is going to decide whether our relationship is going to get better or get worse. Because after a few interactions, if this is the way I'm going to communicate to you, would you be interested in even having a talk with me? Because you don't really matter to me, according to me, right? So you're going to ignore me, or you're going to have a very formal relationship. If I call you, you'll say, hi Nagalakshmi, how are you, and stuff. But then you really don't care about it. You won't take the initiative to call me. Why? Because you feel you're left out. I'm not important, you're not important to me. So technology is actually not helping us much in terms of building relationship. Facebook, okay, I'm taking the name because that's the most widely used one. People have so many virtual friends who we have not met. God knows, are they the real people they claim to be? But we know who's real, and we don't care about the real ones. They are the ones at home or at our friend's house. So technology is actually what do you say, taking our innocence away, taking our emotions away, taking what is truly important to us from us. So I would say, okay, if you want to have Facebook friends, if you want to have other kinds of friends, it's fine. But figure out, list out who are all important in your life. And you set boundaries for your usage of technology. I know a friend of mine, when he comes home, he will put his mobile phone inside his bureau and lock it. He has a landline. He says if somebody is that desperate to contact me, they'll contact me on my landline. Okay, if not, then that call or that message can wait. And invariably, nothing has gone bad in his life. Okay, it's not life-threatening situations that he missed because he put his phone in the locker. So he set his boundary like that. And I don't use the phone unless otherwise it's required. And the phone is never even next to me. It will always be in a separate place. So I work and I am at my work. That's all. And when I'm with my family, it doesn't matter who calls. You know, that is family time. I am not going to attend to any call. I'm not going to attend to anything for that matter. Now, these are simple gestures which will tell your loved ones that you matter to them more than the technology or your job or whatever is important to you. So communication is not just mere words. It's your gestures, it's your eye contact, it's your presence, and it's the feeling you give the other person that, yes, hey, look, I am here for you. I am listening to you. You know, you can even touch that person, hold that person's hand. If you're a spouse, hold the person's hand. If you're the child, if you and your child are communicating, just sit comfortably, relaxedly, and then, you know, just do things with them and keep talking. That is different. Okay, instead of having a formal conversation, when you're talking to a friend, you know, hug the friend, put your arms around the shoulders. You know, that's because we are all emotional beings. Emotion involves touch. Touch is a very crucial aspect. We know the boundaries of that too, and we are all sensible people, so we know how to deal with another human being in terms of touch. But touch is crucial. And today, one thing that saddens me is that even the most loving couples who started off their marriage as the most loving couples um, tend to ignore that physical aspect, that intimacy. You know, they find it very awkward to even hold hands or hug each other outside in front of their children, because that's what is going to show your children this is how love is expressed. You know, you hold the person so tight, all the stress and the anxiety and everything that you have in you is going to have such a relief, and it's all going to come out. You know, it's a great stress buster. And it prompts you to talk, it prompts you to come out in the open. So communication is words, it's emotions, it's touch, it's expression of your love, your gestures, your body language, all of this put together. So when I said earlier, spend 20-30 minutes every day with your spouse and your children, include these aspects slowly, one by one, get comfortable, because it is not alien to us. It is inherent within us. We've just lost touch with that aspect of us. So if you just rekindle that, if you can get in touch with it by practice, this happens only by practice, and we are species of habits. So you can develop that habit. And when your communication and respect and trust, this is all built up, and there is no stopping from, enhancing your relationship.
Great. And I think, that's very crucial in this whole aspect of being more human. You know, the quality of the relationships, the quality and the frequency of our communication is also important now. And being able to evolve, I think, using technology when it's applicable. At the end of the day, it's still about human touch, human connection, building trust, and repeated, I suppose, repeating the process in as we go along. Great. So thank you very much, for sharing your thoughts in terms of relationships and communications. Is there any maybe a simple tip or tool that you would like to share with some of the teenagers who are actually listening into this uh, this chat on how they can also participate? Because we've talked quite extensively in terms of building better relationships and increasing the quality of our communication, primarily from an adult or a parental point of view. Any tips for teenagers who are listening to this conversation, and what are one or two or three simple things that they could do from their perspective in terms of starting conversations, increasing communication, and also building or rebuilding relationships with their family, their friends, and especially their parents? Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, as you said, essentially it's the same. What adults do is what teenagers have to do. But you can't expect too much from a teenager. They are just, evolving. And we have to admit that they have a lot more challenges than what we had when we were teenagers. We have to admit it. And we have created this world for them. So there is more responsibility on us than you can expect from them. Having said that, um, teenagers again have to understand that parents do everything in their best interest. They are not their enemies. You may have your best friends, you may have your own friend groups or virtual friends, online friends, anything. But at the end of the day, those who really care about you are your own people, your father, your mother, your grandmother, grandfather, siblings. You may have sibling rivalry, but something happens to you, the heart that throbs is the closest to you. So they are not your enemy. So first understand your family is not your enemy. They want the best for you. They are only unable to express it in the most positive or productive way because they don't know how to, because they have not been taught. If you want to become an engineer, you go and study engineering. You want to become a doctor, go do MBBS. You want to specialize in cardiology, go do that. If you want to be an artist, go join an art school. But if you want to be a parent, where do you go? You just have a child, you're a parent. So now what to do? I don't know. And if you want to get married, is there something that tells you, hey, look, marriage involves all of these things? Is there any specific steps that you have to follow? No, because there's no universal solution for anything, because situations are different. So you don't know anything. So similarly, your parents don't know how to express their love for you, possibly in some cases. That doesn't mean that they don't love you. Now, the scolding you get, or the advices you get, or the nagging that your mother or father does, is because they want you to be good in life, do well in life. But the way they are communicating it is wrong. So you think that they are criticizing you, they don't love you, they hate you, in fact, and that is why they are behaving this way with you. It is not. They just don't know. So you can take the initiative here. I would ask teenagers one question. Recently, when I did a self-esteem seminar to one of the schools here, 9th and 10th graders, I asked them, all of you say that my parents don't love me, they don't tell me this, they don't get me this. Have any one of you gone to your mother or father and expressed your gratitude for them having given you so much in life, such a good education in a good institution, all the gadgets that you have, all the dresses you have, the parties you've had? Have you ever thanked them profusely from the bottom of your heart? Have you really thanked them? Not one hand went up. But that was an eye opener for them. At the end of the talk, two boys came and said, we thought very seriously about what you said. I've never thanked my mother. That he doesn't have a father. So he said, I never thanked my mother. Now I understand all her challenges in raising me as a single person. But I always thought she was denying me stuff because she didn't love me. But if I look back, she has actually given me a lot of things for which I've never been grateful. So, you start that initiative. So realize your family is not your enemy. That's your first thing. Number two, if your family is not showing the love you expect, it's just that they don't know how to express it. So you take the initiative, you go, tell them, hug them, be with them. And another way of expressing your love to them and saying that you really are grateful for what they are doing is help them in their chores, household chores. The simple things: make up your bed. In the morning, get your bed straightened out. put your clothes in the washing machine or the basket for that. And if the vessels are there, dry the vessels, arrange them in the cabinets. And if your mother or father is cooking, go cut the vegetables with them. Now that's a beautiful opportunity to open up a conversation. It creates a ground for conversation, because you may say, how do I cut this? And then your father or mother shows it, and then they may relate some experience. So when I was small, I used to be with my grandmother, she taught me how to make a pudding or something like that. It's a conversation starter. You create that situation for that, you create your own opportunities. So when you come out like that, your parents are naturally going to reciprocate to you, because this is what they wanted from you. So there is nothing great that's involved here. There is no much bigger effort involved here. Always don't think that parents have to give you something because you deserve it. None of us deserve anything. We all earn things. You want love, you express love. You want respect, you respect the other person. It's all gained, it's all earned. Nothing is given in a silver plate, nothing at all. Every bit of money that you earn, you have to work for it. Every bit of fame that you want, you have to work for it. Every bit of love you want, you have to gain it. You have to show you're a lovable person. If somebody is not showing that love to you, no matter what, you love that person. I'm not talking about a stranger. I'm talking about your own mother and father and your siblings. So you become the change that you want. That's what Gandhi said, right? You become the change you want to see in the world. My mother is not behaving the way I want her to, then let me show her how I want to be treated. You think a mother is going to shy away from that? She knows now, okay, fine, my son wants this. Most of the times, parents are in the dark. They are kept in the dark because you don't talk to them. You don't express your feelings, what you're going through, what's bothering you. If you have a problem at school or your college, the best person to talk to is your mother or father. And it is again the parents' responsibility to listen to it unconditionally, unjudgingly. Because if you're going to judge, then children are going to stop talking to you again. Because you have to look at it objectively, not as my child, my daughter or my son. What would you do if some third person comes to you for help? You're going to listen. Do the same thing with your children. So when both parties act in harmony with each other, then this will thrive. So for parents, I would say, treat your children as adults and deal with them as adults. Do the same courtesy, extend the same courtesy you will have extended to your professional, contacts. So for teenagers, I would say, treat your family as a loving unit. They are not your enemies. Bear that in mind.
Thank you so much. This is, a great conversation. I look forward to having subsequent conversations with yourself, Nagalakshmi. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for this episode. For people who are listening in, do subscribe to this channel for more exciting, engaging, and empowering conversations. At the end, if you like this content, there's also, a contact email that you can connect with Nagalakshmi directly. I also encourage you to get her book, The Forgotten Secrets of a Magical Marriage, to get more perspective from this amazing woman with great wisdom and experience. Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
It was a wonderful time that I spent now. I really should thank you, Derek, because we've been at different ends of the world, even if it's just Malaysia and Bombay, again, different ends. We haven't been meeting personally, and yet I'm very thankful for you to keeping the contact alive, to keeping the friendship alive, and giving this amazing opportunity to address a lot of people that I can't see now, but I hope to see in the future very soon. But I just hope people could take something out of this conversation, the time that they've invested in listening to our conversation. And I really wish them all the very best, the adults, the teenagers, and everybody involved. And I wish each and every family to have a thriving relationship, a happy relationship, and a better relationship. And as you said, if they want to get in touch with me, my email is open to them, and I'm all ears. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening and a fantastic weekend ahead.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.